welcome back to Youth Coach Jam's online Bits and Bytes lessons. My name is Jen. I'm an instructor with Youth Coach Jam, and I'll be walking you through today's activity. So this is for our cybersecurity escape room challenge, and this is room 3. So today we're going to try and make an uncrackable password, or at least a very strong one. This is a very important skill to learn, just because we use passwords for everything, and now we're having two-factor passwords. So you'll have your code, and then you'll have maybe a second code sent to you, or you'll use your fingerprint or your face to unlock something. So it's very important that we learn this basic way of keeping our information safe when we're online. This is all offline stuff for the most part, this is offline. The only thing you might want to have is a scratch sheet of paper and a pen or pencil to write with while we go through this. So a little background, we're going to go over what a password is, and one definition is a code used to keep information safe, or a secret code or phrase used to gain access to something. So you make up a code or a phrase with letters and numbers, and you keep that secret to yourself, and then you use that to keep, maybe it's for your email or your bank account or your Twitter account. Any online account you have is going to have a password attached to it, and it's going to be something that you come up with. You should always change any auto set passwords or anything that's a default password that's sent to you when you first create an account. You should change that. So like I said, what do we use them for? We use them for email, our bank account, school. You guys, a lot of you use Google Classrooms and the G Suite for your schoolwork. When you're in college, you have passwords for everything that goes on with your school. And then you guys can probably think of other things. So I said Twitter earlier, but Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, any social media account that you're going to have is going to have a password. And it's very important that not only do you have passwords for this account and keep them secret, but that you don't use the same password for every account that you have. So let's get into talking about what makes a strong password. Generally, you're going to be asked to create a password that is 8 to 16 characters long. And when we talk about characters in computer science and almost anything relating to computers, characters do not just mean letters A through Z. Characters refer to letters and numbers, punctuation, even a space is a character. So when you're counting characters in a word processing document, it's counting all of that. And same with our passwords. So with our passwords, it's normally a mix of upper and lowercase letters, numbers 0 to 9, and then special characters like the ones you see here. So common ones are going to be the exclamation point, the @ sign, the $sign, the dashes and underscores. Some of these are not going to be accepted in certain, when you're setting passwords, depending on what the developers have decided, you might not always be able to use certain special characters. They might only allow a few, and that is because certain special characters can be used to inject dangerous code through your text fields and hurt the website or hurt the account. So some of these special characters you might not always be able to use them, but this is the idea. So like I said, you're going to have a mix of upper and lowercase letters. You have to have at least one number to make it a strong password, and at least one special character. And I'm saying this is minimum. So minimum requirements is an 8-character phrase with a mix of upper and lowercase letters, one number, and one special character. The more mixing you do between these categories, the stronger your password is going to be. So based off of what we've done so far, take a second and look at these 4 choices and think about which one you think is the strongest, and I'm going to go through and tell you which one is and isn't. So we're going to start at the top. Blue is a very weak password. This is going to be picked out almost immediately. You don't typically want to use a word for your password. There's something called brute force attacks or dictionary attacks, and basically it's a program that will run through every word in the dictionary until it finds it, and that seems like it would take a long time. But when it's just a plain word that's all lowercase, it's going to be figured out in seconds. And we can test some of these in a bit, and I can show you what I mean. Pink is a little better. It's not super great because it's still only 4 characters long, but it at least has a special character and a capital letter. Lavender is a little stronger than pink because it is longer and has a special character, but it's only lowercase and doesn't have a number. Cupcake here is or cupcakes is going to be our strongest phrase. It has lowercase and uppercase, a special character with our @ sign there, a number, and then another special character at the end. So I will show you guys a little bit later. We'll test these out, but let's walk through how we can come up with our own. So like I said, cupcake. Here's some examples of bad passwords, and here's why. A lot of these, so this ABC 123, password 1234, anything that's in a sequence like 1234, 123, 000, anything that's in a sequence or repeats is going to be super easy to crack. That's going to be something they try first. Also, all of these are normally default codes for something. There's lots of accounts that will give you a four-digit code set to 00 when you first set up. If you have a physical padlock or a locker at school, maybe, your locks are usually auto set to 000. That's how you can reset your codes. And then, people get lazy and they'll just write password, and believe it or not, people still do this. So these are default codes that you might see or something lazy people might do. And you shouldn't do that because they're the first things hackers are going to check, and they're the first things that are going to, they're going to get in so easy. So birthdays are a really bad thing too. A lot of that is publicly available information. At some point in your life, your birthday is going to be online and people are going to be able to get it. And I know what you're thinking, it's a series of numbers and I can remember it. Don't use it, because if somebody can find out that information, either by talking to you or again looking online on a profile that you have or something else, then they're going to be able to very easily get into your account. So never have your birthday as a lock code. So like your phones have lock codes. If you really don't want someone getting in there, don't leave it set to your birthday. Pet names, again, this is not just people who know you. You share your pet name, especially if you're a little older and on social media, you have probably shared your pet name online. And even if you add some variety to that, that'll make it a little harder. But if you just type in Max for your dog's name and that's it, somebody's going to be able to guess that really fast. Same with your family names. People, when hackers are first going through it, if it's a specific attack towards you, they might try and use information they can gather about you. Your family's names, your last name, pet names, those are all things that at some point have ended up online, and it's going to be very easy for them to find you. And like we talked about earlier, the simpler the word, even though this is a longer word, rainforest, that's going to be really easy. I love football, so you shouldn't do something of hobbies. So if you like Harry Potter, your password should not be Harry Potter. That's going to be something someone could guess about you. It shouldn't be locations. It shouldn't be like where you're born or where you go to school or where you live. It shouldn't be stuff that's easily found out about you, because then that's going to make it easier to hack your accounts. So let's talk about how we make a strong password. And this is kind of what I do. And it's been pretty good for me. And it's not usually things that what I like to do is start with 2 random words that mean absolutely nothing to me. These have nothing to do with my interests. They don't have anything to do with where I live. They don't have anything to do with my life. It's not something that you can Google about me or that I would talk to you about, and you would be able to figure it out from this. So I started with 2 random words, and the ones we're going to work with are winter and desert. And I just type them I just type them in one long phrase, because your passwords cannot have spaces in between them. So we just typed winter, desert, one long word, all lowercase. So I'm going to exit out of this slideshow for a second, and we're going to open up a second tab and test that out. So this is where we're going to test that out. So I'm going to type this in there. It's not going to show it. Sorry, typos. Winter, desert. So just that alone, all lowercase letters, it's going to take about 3 weeks for a computer or a computer program to crack that password. So that's not bad, but that's not really great. So we're going to go on to the next one. Up here, sorry, I lost my I lost my spot. So that's going to take me 3 weeks. And now if I come back and add winter desert, so like I said, that's going to take about 3 weeks when we type that in that code check. And you guys are going to get to do this in a bit. All right, so I have lowercase letters. I have 2 random, so I've hit the 8 to 16 character requirement, right? So let's check that. So W is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So my word right now, 12 characters long. So I've hit the length, and I've got lowercase words that mean nothing. So it's a lowercase phrase that means nothing to me. So we're already doing okay there. Okay, so like I said, so now our password is 12 lowercase letters. Let's add a few capital letters, right? We want to do a mix. So this is pretty obvious, actually, doing the first letter of each word. It would be better to mix this up. So maybe make the N capitalized instead, and maybe the R here. That would be really random. So it would make it a little harder. And actually, we'll test that in a second. But let's just say that all we did was capitalize W and D. It's now going to take 300 years to crack that password. But again, I'm going to escape out of here for a second. And let's see what it would do if I capitalize the N of winter and the R of desert. So it's still 300 years. So it didn't change too much. It didn't change at all. All right, so now we're going to go to this next one. So we're at 300 years, we're not doing bad. So if we add a few numbers, so I added a 4 between the R and D, and I changed the second E of desert to a 3. Again, that's something common. That's not necessarily the most secretive thing in the world. If you guys have played with coding, or not coding, sorry, texting or IM speak, whatever you guys want to call it, when you're sending shorthand messages over the internet or over Wi-Fi, you've probably replaced something with a 3 or an E with a 3 at some point to shorten it. So that's not exactly unique or original, but it works. And you can see now this says it's going to take 100,000 years to crack my password. The person trying to get into my account, at 300 years is long gone, but they are really long gone at this point. We're not making it that far. So the last thing I want to do, just to be safe, is add some special characters. And you can see I actually added 2 here. So I turned the I into an exclamation point and the S into a $sign. So even though these are pretty common things to switch out, it helps me remember what my passcode is by changing them to symbols that look similar to the letters that were there. And if we check one more time, we can see that the password is going to take 2 million years to be cracked. So that's a pretty good password. I feel pretty secure in that. That doesn't mean, that's with this kind of dictionary brute force attack. There are other more sophisticated attacks that might be able to do that faster. But assuming it's a brute force attack where they are just trying every possible outcome, that's a good amount of time. And that's normally where a lot of hackers start, are the brute force attacks, because they can get a lot of passwords pretty easily with that. And they're not worried about a time. So the last thing you guys are going to do is use this link. So https:// So if you can go to the site, you can try writing your own passwords and see what the different options are. So I'm going to go back to our earlier example, so where we did these 4 right here. And let's see how fast blue would be cracked. Blue would be cracked instantly. What was our second one? Pink with a P exclamation point and K. 500 microseconds. That's pretty fast, guys. That's not long at all. Lavender, 3 minutes. So we got a little better there. And then with our cupcakes, so that only takes 2 hours. Hold on, I don't think I typed that right. I didn't. Okay. So cup, capital C, @K3 $. So still, that's not the strongest one, right? That was the strongest one of those choices, but it only is going to take 8 hours to crack. So they can have my password within a day. But let's see things like ABC123 instantly, or 12345 6 instantly. So these are all those default ones, the ones a lot of people like to try out first. So you can try out different things here and see when it gets really good. So remember, the longer the time, the stronger your password. So you can use this site to test out your different options and practice making good passwords and kind of work with that some more. But that's all I have for you guys today. I hope to see you at a live session soon. If you haven't been able to make one, they're a lot more fun than the recorded videos. And if you or your parents ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to us via email. All right, have a great day.